Hi everyone, my name is Donnie Lowy from Wholesale USA Dresses.com. The next time you're in New York, you are welcome to visit my warehouse. So today I'd like to discuss with you one of the strategies that people use to sell their overstock and their closeout merchandise. And that is taking their merchandise to an auctioneer and having that auctioneer sell off their merchandise. Now, the reason that people need to go to an auctioneer in the first place is because they've exhausted the opportunities to sell their merchandise, through the regular channels. So, for example, you have a store, and the store carries dresses, women's suits, women's shoes, handbags, fashion accessories, and so on. And at the end of the month or at the end of the season, winter is coming to an end, and they still have winter clothing left, and they've tried to sell it and tried to mark it down, offer it as a discount, and just people aren't buying it. So they can take that merchandise to an auctioneer, have the auctioneer auction off the merchandise. I don't know if you've seen, it depends where you live, but there are places where there'll be basically it's like an auction house, and the auctioneers will take merchandise from other people in consignment, or they'll buy the merchandise and then they'll auction it off. So the reason people do that is because when you go to an auctioneer, it's going to be sold at a very low price. The auctions are often run without a reserve. A reserve is basically the bottom line, the bottom price that the owner of the merchandise will accept. But if the owner of the merchandise just wants to sell their merchandise at, they'll usually do the auction without a reserve. In other words, that merchandise could be sold at any price. And because of that reason, a lot of people will go to the auctions to bid on merchandise, and they'll actually be able to get merchandise at really good prices. But for the owner of the merchandise, the benefit, of course, is that he or she is going to be able to sell the merchandise, but the challenge is they might get, a very low amount of money. Now, if you do go to an auctioneer, what I'd recommend is only go after you've literally tried every other way to sell your merchandise. And you need to factor in what's more important for you, to sell that merchandise and get just some money for it, or maybe use that merchandise and use it as an incentive to attract new customers and to get your current customers to buy more merchandise. Let's say you have 10 pairs of shoes left, and you've tried to sell them, you can't sell them at all. So how about making a sale where you give every customer who buys $50 or $100 worth of merchandise, you give them a free pair of shoes. That's a big incentive. Or you can even advertise that every customer that comes to your warehouse, the first 10 customers that come to your house are going to get a free pair of shoes. And that's how you attract new people to come to your store. Now, if you need the money and that's really not, you're not looking just to attract new people or to get your customers to buy more, then that might make sense for you to take your merchandise and go to an auction house. Now, at the auction house, you should definitely, negotiate, find out what their success rate, how much they've sold that type of merchandise before, because if they haven't sold that type of merchandise before, it might be hard for them to attract bidders that are interested in that merchandise. And if they have sold that merchandise before, but they haven't sold it at a high amount, then it might not be a good idea to sell your merchandise through that auction house. You might want to go to another auction house, unless you just cannot find any auction houses where you could sell your merchandise. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this video. My website is wholesaleusadresses.com. The next time in New York, you're welcome to visit my warehouse. Thank you and have a great day.